Hey everyone, welcome back and happy Wednesday. All right, guys. Well, we're back to talk about the fact that Katie just dropped a big bomb, which I don't know if I necessarily, which let me say this. I don't know if I believe what she's saying. But also if she heard this, I know her well enough to know that she'd be like, I don't give a shit if you believe what I'm saying. I don't care. I'm not saying it for you. So doesn't really matter if I don't believe it, but I'm skeptical. Also, Andy Cohen is chiming in on the demise of the cast of Vanderpump Rules. Yeah, we're going to get into all of it. So before we do, if you guys haven't already, go ahead, pop off in the comment section. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. And let's start with the Andy of it all, because I think that that's an easier one to kind of just get out of the
way. Big Vanderpump.
Hold on.
Rules news. Bravo announced, or word got out, that they are revamping the show. And I have to say, this is, first of all, the absolute right thing to do. I am so impressed with how production kept the show going over the last, I'm going to say, 4 years, when slowly but surely none of them were working at SUR.
I agree with that.
The entire point of the show morphed and changed as it went on. And it wound up that James Kennedy was the only one with any kind of footprint at SUR, because he was DJing there occasionally. And now he's gone on and he's got a residency in Vegas and he's having great success. And they're all having good success outside of SUR. Several have very, very organically moved on to the Valley, which makes very perfect sense. And then you have others who don't want to be in the same room, much less on the same show with each other. And that makes sense too. So what you were left with was really just a few pieces of what the original Vanderpump Rules was. So I think this is a very smart programming move. It is not often that you have, how many seasons did Vanderpump Rules go? 12, I think. It's what I keep saying about Roni. Y'all, in Roni's case, we had 13 seasons of a show that was so beloved and so great. And it went on and on. And sometimes for a show, it's the end of the road, or it's time to curve or swerve or pivot. And that's where we were with Roni. And that is what is happening with Vanderpump Rules. And I'm so impressed with the gang from Vanderpump Rules, the production team, and the folks on the show. Really, specifically the folks on the show, who always remained very true to themselves. Like it or hate it, or like them or hate them, they were always very much themselves. And that's what made that show so entertaining and surprising season after season. But to have that show go so long and be as good as it was for as long as it was, one could have argued that if the Scandival, as it was called, did not happen, that may have been, I don't know. That could have wound up being,
it would have
kind of the swan song. But also, if you look at the last episode of last season, it really did. Watch the last 10 minutes, or 5 minutes. It felt like a absolute series finale. So congratulations. Big Van.
No, I agree with him. I think that, by the way, after season 10, even when they sat around at the finale and Lisa was like, some of you will go on and be friends and some of you won't speak. Why did I get that good lighting when I started being Lisa Vanderpump? But it was very final in the way that she said goodbye. And they all knew. Sheena's talked about it. They talked about it. They knew that this was going to be the end after season 10. And then Scandal happened. Yeah, that's what happened. But I do agree. especially after this next thing that I'm going to address, Katie talking about her exit, and then I'm going to play a clip. But thank you to Taste of Reality, our girls over there. We love you. Katie Maloney said, I understand the Vanderpump Rules getting rebooted and being a cohesive unit doesn't exist anymore. Apparently, she felt ready to move on from the show and she understands the reboot. It was during an episode of the Disrespectfully podcast where she recapped Vanderpump Rules as we know it is going to be no longer. None of us, OGs, will be returning. But Katie was ready to move on. I didn't plan on returning. Maybe it doesn't matter at this point, but I had made the decision months ago after this past season. I needed to move on with life. This was before we knew the show was going to be put on pause. Now, in addition to her close friends and family, Katie talked to producers about it. I felt personally ready to move on from the show. My life and where I was at was moving into a new direction, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I was prepared to move on from the show, and I went through so much on that show. But I don't know that I can learn and grow and be the version of myself that I want to be on the show any longer. She also continued by saying, I understand why they rebooted Vanderpump Rules. The group and the dynamic and what makes the show will be hard to do because it was so fractured at the end. Many of us don't hang out. She explained that some people may talk here and there, but as far as it being a cohesive unit, that doesn't exist anymore. Well, let's play the clip. Share screen, please. Hold on. I am. Thank you to Breaking the Rules pod clips.
Rules as we've known it is going to be no longer. They announced last Tuesday that they're going to be rebooting it with an entirely new cast for season 12, and none of us OGs will be returning. You know, as many as other people close to me, I didn't plan on returning. Maybe it doesn't matter at this point, but I had made a decision months ago after this past season. I mean, I needed to move on with my life, and this is before we knew like the show was going to be put on pause, before any of that.
This was like after the reunion.
Yeah.
This was like in the spring.
Yeah. So, and I talked to like our producers about it, and I told them, my decision on that. So I mean, I felt personally ready to move on from the show. I felt like my life and where I was moving in a different direction. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I was prepared to move on from the show. I was prepared. I think it'd been a long time. For like many seasons of my life, I was there. I lived many lives and went through so much on that show, but I don't know. I just got to a point where I was just, I don't know that I can live and grow and be the version of myself I want to be on the show any longer. And as far as the show itself, I mean, I think I understand it. I think that the group and the dynamic and what makes the show that show would be hard to do because it was so like fractured at the end there. And many of us don't hang out. I mean, yeah, there might be some people that talk to this person, or these people hang out, or these two hang out, or these, but as far as it being like a cohesive unit, it just doesn't exist anymore. So I felt like what made Vanderpump Rules and what people watched all those years didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Vanderpump Rules as we've known it is.
The only reason, and I hear Dana Catherine also being like, yeah, like you said this in the spring. It's just like something about her right now, I'm sure is not making, like I'm sure that they're doing well, but it's still sandwiches, you guys. And it's going to take them a minute to recoup all of the money, I'm sure, with the permits and all of that. Even though they had a lot of success, over $500,000 in merch. So that I'm sure really helped too. But you would be walking away from a $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 paycheck for filming 3 months. She's still living in an apartment. And I'm not talking bad. I'm just saying, like, I just find it hard to believe that she would walk away from that paycheck if the show were to be coming back. But I want to hear what you guys think. Guys, it's 11:11. Pop off in the comment section. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.